How did the Mujahideen successfully fight off the USSR military? During the 1980s, the Mujahideen, Afghan guerrilla fighters, employed a combination of tactics, external support, and geographical advantages to resist the Soviet Union's occupation of Afghanistan. What strategies did the Mujahideen use to combat the Soviet forces? One of the key tactics utilized by the Mujahideen was guerrilla warfare. They operated in small, mobile units, conducting hit-and-run attacks, ambushes, and sabotage against Soviet troops and their Afghan allies. This approach allowed them to constantly harass and weaken the enemy without engaging in direct confrontations, which would have been disadvantageous given the superior firepower and resources of the Soviet military. Additionally, the Mujahideen exploited the rugged terrain and harsh climate of Afghanistan to their advantage. The country's mountainous terrain provided natural defensive positions and sanctuaries where they could regroup, resupply, and evade enemy detection. The harsh winters, characterized by heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures, posed significant logistical challenges for the Soviet forces, hindering their mobility and supply lines. Another factor that contributed to the Mujahideen's success was the extensive support they received from external actors, particularly the United States, Pakistan, and other Western countries. These countries, alarmed by the Soviet intervention in Afghanistan and motivated by geopolitical considerations, provided the Mujahideen with weapons, training, and financial assistance. The CIA in particular played a central role in coordinating the supply of arms and funding to the Afghan resistance fighters through its Operation Cyclone program. The support from external actors enabled the Mujahideen to acquire a wide range of weapons, including small arms, anti-tank missiles, and even shoulder-launched surface-to-air missiles, SAMs. These weapons significantly enhanced their firepower and effectiveness against the Soviet military, allowing them to inflict heavy casualties and damage on Soviet troops and equipment. Moreover, the Mujahideen's cause resonated with many Afghans who opposed the Soviet-backed communist government in Kabul. The Afghan people provided crucial support to the Mujahideen by offering shelter, supplies, and intelligence, and by joining the resistance movement themselves. This grassroots support bolstered the Mujahideen's morale and resilience, further complicating the Soviet military's efforts to suppress the insurgency. Despite facing overwhelming odds, the Mujahideen's determination, resourcefulness, and resilience allowed them to wage a protracted and successful resistance campaign against the Soviet Union. By leveraging guerrilla tactics, exploiting geographical advantages, and receiving substantial support from external actors and the Afghan populace, the Mujahideen effectively countered the Soviet military's occupation of Afghanistan. The Soviet Union's intervention in Afghanistan, which began in December 1979, aimed to prop up the communist government in Kabul and prevent the spread of Islamic fundamentalism in the region. However, the Soviet military soon found itself embroiled in a protracted and costly conflict against the Mujahideen, a coalition of Afghan guerrilla fighters drawn from various tribal, ethnic, and ideological backgrounds. One of the key factors that contributed to the Soviet Union's eventual withdrawal from Afghanistan was the growing human and financial cost of the conflict. The Soviet military, accustomed to conventional warfare in Europe, struggled to adapt to the realities of guerrilla warfare in Afghanistan. The Mujahideen's hit-and-run tactics, knowledge of the local terrain, and ability to blend in with the civilian population made them elusive and difficult targets for the Soviet forces to engage. Furthermore, the Soviet Union's occupation of Afghanistan faced widespread international condemnation and diplomatic isolation. The United States, along with other Western countries, vehemently opposed the Soviet intervention and provided extensive support to the Mujahideen. This support, which included weapons, funding, and training, bolstered the Mujahideen's capabilities and contributed to their ability to sustain the resistance campaign against the Soviet military. The conflict in Afghanistan also strained the Soviet Union's economy and military resources. The protracted nature of the insurgency, coupled with the harsh terrain and climate of Afghanistan, imposed heavy logistical burdens on the Soviet military. The cost of maintaining a large and increasingly unpopular presence in Afghanistan became unsustainable for the Soviet leadership, leading to growing calls for withdrawal from both within the Soviet Union and the international community. Additionally, The war in Afghanistan took a heavy toll on Soviet morale and public opinion. The mounting casualties, coupled with reports of atrocities committed by Soviet troops, fueled widespread disillusionment and opposition to the war among the Soviet populace. This internal dissent, combined with the economic and military challenges posed by the conflict, contributed to the Soviet leadership's decision to withdraw from Afghanistan in 1989. In conclusion, the Mujahideen's successful resistance campaign against the Soviet Union in Afghanistan was characterized by a combination of guerrilla tactics, external support, and the Soviet Union's own strategic miscalculations and internal weaknesses. If you found this video informative, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content.